What's up, guys? This is While Supplies Last, the marketing podcast where we talk about all things business and marketing. I'm Gabby. I'm the marketing manager for Peachtree Rose Marketing.
And I'm Candace. I am the project manager for Peachtree Rose Marketing. And here today we have Mr. Dom Davis. Hi, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. We're so excited. We're going to be talking with Dom about omnichannel marketing, not multi-channel marketing. But Dom here, he is the owner of Tamari Media, and he has over 8 years experience in marketing. He's also the director of performance marketing with the Down Market.
Yes.
And as well, very impressive, you were a 2024 San Antonio Startup Week panelist, where you did talk about the topic of omnichannel marketing.
Yeah.
Tell our viewers that may not know what omnichannel marketing is.
Yeah, so omnichannel marketing is the ability to reach out to your customer base or customers or leads from the various different channels, and doing it in a methodical manner, right? So, like we live in a land of signs. There's signs everywhere you go, everywhere you look. We have digital signs. We have television, radio, In the digital world we live in, we have all these other signs or channels where people can share their messages with you. So I try to quantify those to make them more digestible for clients and business owners in general, so they can maximize the potential of their marketing.
What would you say, or what does a seamless customer experience look like when it comes to omnichannel marketing?
I think it's a balance of brand messages and transactional messages. The old idiom of jab, jab, hook, the old Gary Vee deal, brand, transaction is ideal. It's not necessarily like the way things go all the time with businesses. And I think the more messages, right, the better, right? It's better until it's not. And then you have data to tell you that if you should scale back on a campaign or sending out messages in that way through the different channels.
Nice.
So I know we talk like omni-channel marketing is basically multiple channels and creating like a seamless journey for the customer. Can you explain to some small business owners or entrepreneurs, people that are interested in getting starting in business and learning about marketing, about the customer journey, and it kind of explain it through maybe a brand that they know and understand?
Yeah. So the customer journey, it's like the marketing funnel, right? Brand awareness, nurturing the lead, right? And then creating conversion, and then retaining the lead, right? So a flywheel, essentially, what HubSpot would call it. And knowing how to communicate with the customer at each stage of those different channels, right? And you can do that through the different marketing channels specifically in a different way. Whether it be like an ad. When customers first find out about your business, it's probably through a social media post that they've seen online, or an ad, or the scrolling on YouTube, right? So ideally, those are kind of the marketing channels where you can, the top of the funnel, essentially, what you would call it, right? Where the customers first find out about you. And then you're nurturing the lead, right? That can be through emails, phone calls, setting up meetings, also sending ads, right? Because the more people see you, the better off, the more likely they'll be able to become your customer. And then you convert them and make sure you have good customer service. That's a marketing channel, right? Loyalty and rewards is a marketing channel, right? Creating a subscription model is a marketing channel, So different ways, and being very creative about your processes would be super advantageous.
Okay, nice. I know whenever sometimes I'll be online shopping and I'll leave something in a cart and then I'll get an email like, oh, you left this in your cart. You should come back and purchase it. Or I'll be scrolling through Instagram the next minute and I get an ad for that thing I was looking at. And I feel like that really, I guess, helps tie into the omnichannel marketing, and it helps create like a unified user experience.
Absolutely. These are all different touch points you want to capitalize on, and making sure you're keeping track of these different channels, right? Putting out these messages is great, but if you're not tracking the growth of each channel in a granular manner, then you really don't know how it's performing for you, right? So for our clients, we try to do we do multiple reports. Um, First off, we'll do like a merchandising report if they're selling products, right? And how that equates to the marketing, right? How that correlates to the marketing. And then you have the actual marketing channels. The most important one being the website performance report, right? The traffic, the conversions, the revenue, etc. After that, you want to look at a traffic by channel breakdown. So, which of these different marketing channels are driving traffic to the website, right? Which equals money for my business, right? And each of those different channels have their own reports as well, right? So you can have a site speed report, you can have a SEO report, keywords and things like that. Not as common with the site speed and SEO, but it's very helpful for sure. Because a lot of people say they do SEO, but if you're not really looking at that, on a week over week basis, then you really don't know. You're just kind of assuming that they're doing their job for you. But other ones that are important are like email specifically, right? They have their own metrics like click rate, open rate, click through rate, which is a combination of click rate and open rate, right? How many subscribers you got, and you want to track that on a week over week basis, right? I worked at a company called Grunt Style, and I had the opportunity to learn some of these enterprise level practices. And that was one of the mechanistic factors. Every single week we would look at, okay, how much revenue are we up week over week? Or it's also looking at it from a month over month perspective or a quarter over quarter. And if you don't have those baselines, then you really don't know if you're growing or not. You're just throwing stuff at the wall and see if it sticks.
Right. So for small businesses, obviously they probably are using a lot of different channels to market to people because that's what's put out there is, you need to have an Instagram and then you need to have email and you need to have a website and so they have all of these things. So they're practicing multi-channel marketing, but not necessarily omni-channel marketing. Can you explain how they can kind of transfer to doing that strategy and how omni-channel strategy may be more beneficial to small businesses versus just doing multi-channel, just having them like they need to be
Yeah.
cohesive?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So omnichannel, in the true sense of the word, would be like I have billboards, I got TV ads, right? I got radio, and I have the digital as well. But when I say omnichannel, I'm thinking more from a digital sense, right? So we talked about all the different ways that you can share a message with someone in terms of like the real world, right? But in the digital world, we have only so many channels, and if we quantify them, they'll be really digestible. So first, let's do that, right? We have a website, we have a blog, we have an email, a text message, an ad, a social media post, a video, a podcast audio type format or something like that, and a ringless voicemail, and an app notification. Pretty much those 10 channels are the only way you can practically share a message with someone digitally, right? So now that we wrapped our head around those different channels, let's talk about time. So in the real world, every single day matters, right? So if a business is making $100,000 a day, and then one day they all of a sudden make $10,000, probably be bankrupt, practically. You know what I mean? So with that being said, you have to look at the numbers and see how much you're making every day or what other factors are correlating to your revenue, right? So with that being said, we have 52 weeks in a year. If you break it down by quarter, we have 13 weeks in a quarter. And by understanding what your activations or campaigns or products or services are going to be over that 13 weeks, provide you with a go-to-market strategy for that quarter, right? So with that said, you understand time now and how important it is, and you understand all the different marketing channels. So let's go ahead and come up with one campaign a week, right? So that's 13 campaigns. Well, let's start with one. Let's say the amazing Wild Supplies last podcast is the topic, right? We're going to write, so that's our main topic. So we're going to start with long form content, And then we're going to reduce it to short form content to make it super easy for us, right? So we have our campaign topic, and now we're going to write a 2,000 word blog about it, right? So the SEO can crawl it, the search engines can crawl it, right? It needs about at least 1,500 words, right? 500 words, something like that. The more the better, the more contextual, right? You can use ChatGPT for that. I do it all the time. And then I rewrite things to make sure that it speaks to my brand language or my customer's brand language, right? So now we have our long form written word, which is the basis of all our content. We can take that blog and now we can convert it into a script, which will create about anywhere from a 7 to 13-minute video, right? So now we got our long form content, we got our blog, and we got our long form video. Boom. Now we want to reduce it to short form content. We want to take that blog and throw it into a tool like Opus Clip, turn it into Reels. Now we got our Reels and our YouTube video and our blog for the website, right? And then we also want to create some social graphics to help us supplement our Reels online, right? Which we can use Canva for. And now we have our graphics, our Reels. Why not create an email newsletter while you're at it, right? We can use a tool like Klaviyo and get the right aspect ratios. And then maybe a couple SMS gifts. We could do all this within the same process, about the same topic. While Supplies Last is an amazing podcast, right? So we got an email, we got a video for the website. We got a blog, we got a video that goes with the blog on the website. We got a video that goes on YouTube. We got social graphics, we got emails, we got text messages. Practically, those are pretty much most companies using that many channels, right? And that's 1 week. Now you rinse and repeat every single week. Bop, bop, bop. And just putting out content. Now you have all your campaign topics and all the content done. How do you put it out? You can pre-schedule a lot of it. Meta allows you to pre-schedule your content up to 28 days on the platform directly. I have a little trick where I'll go ahead and pin all those tabs, all those websites at the top of my browser for whatever client browser I'm working with, right? So at all times I have like their analytics pinned up. I have their social channels, their email channel, and it's just there. Even if I close it out, it'll pop right back up, because it's pinned. It's kind of like my Batman tool belt kind of deal. And then now that we've done all this content creation and everything, I have a system for putting it all into a marketing calendar, right? To where everything's hyperlinked and all the captions and everything are already done. To where as long as all the social channels are up, meaning like Meta for Instagram and Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, even TikTok or Reddit or Pinterest, right? Depending on the brand. I'll be able to pre-schedule all the content, like one post in like 2 minutes, on all 7 channels. And that's all my social media. But it's about, like, if you had an hour to cut down a tree, you spend 55 minutes sharpening the axe, kind of approach.
Yeah.
So just kind of build it all out, strategize, and execute. And then you can just track and perform and make it better. And now that you have this quarter all mapped out, you can be focusing on the next quarter, right? So companies like AT&T, I'm sure their go-to-markets are at least 2 to 5 years out. You know what I mean? They're not worried about this year. Like, if you're focused on 2025 right now, it's going to be a rough one. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
So I know a lot of people out there like, okay, that's a lot to that's a lot to digest. That's a lot to do. And that's just the marketing of your service or product. Mm-hmm. It's not necessarily like you still have to have time to actually do the service or create the product. Right. So a lot of small businesses are like, man, I don't got the time for that. Mm-hmm. So how can they still keep up with, these strategies? And I know a lot of it, you talked about ChatGPT. Yeah. So we're looking at AI, we're looking at automation, because we're talking about, well, you can do all of that in about a matter of 2 minutes. So can you kind of break down, I know that's one of like the things that you leverage in some of your specialties is automation and AI. Speak to some of that, and then maybe also tell them I guess a couple for like small business owners, because I know a lot of times we look at some of the like the software, the SaaS and stuff that helps the automation, the pricing on those can
It adds
get
up.
yeah,
Yeah.
they can add up and they can get expensive. And I know that's probably one of the reasons small business owners are deterred from using some of those, and it's kind of holding them back a little bit. Can you give some suggestions of some programs or some automation services that could really help boost small business, their growth, and see some real traction in 2025?
Yeah. So on a super high level with AI, we are working on using AI agents to do a lot of these things for us, using some of the processes I just communicated. You're doing it manually, right? Directly to the platform. Like there's scheduling tools where you can have it post to all your channels. Me personally, I don't like that because sometimes the links are kind of messed up or there's an issue with the video uploading on a certain platform or it doesn't give me access to all the platforms. So I found it more efficient just to use a spreadsheet type system, right? However, there are new technologies like Operator with OpenAI, or Anthropic had a version of it, where it takes control of your whole computer, right? And it does a lot of the work you would do essentially yourself. The same thing agents use to do, like we're using frameworks like LangChain or Crew AI is a great one to automate a lot of these practices. A lot of it's still wonky, but we're definitely coming to like the end of being on that curve through that curve, and figuring out a lot of those issues. We're doing so in terms of using different automated tools. I think NAN, Relevance, Volumium are great tools you can look into, but these are more like highly technical aspects. You kind of need to be a developer. For a business owner, for social media, there's been things like Buffer or Hootsuite to post on your social media for you, so where it does all those things at one time, right? I would also leverage using VAs, virtual assistants, that are specialized in these different areas, and working with somebody like myself or Peachtree, right, to be a fractional CMO or consultant for the business and allow them to take more accountability in their marketing, creating their own, like being autonomous in the sense of being a marketer for their business, right? Especially if they can't afford like all these tools or to put us on full service retainers and things like that.
I know when we first started looking at automations for our business, we were looking like things like Zapier, stuff like that. Can you speak to any of those?
Yeah.
And like,
Yeah.
because those are good for small businesses connecting their CRMs to
Right.
a lot of the other platforms they're using.
Yeah, and a lot of these things aren't new, right? Like using Zapier. Zapier is a great tool because it's better now with their AI functionality in terms of the knowledge it takes to create a API connection or a Zap. It was a little harder back then, but a lot of automations like sending an automated email that you spoke to earlier, or click action when somebody has a behavior on your website and segmenting the audience for targeted marketing. These are also different things you can do. But you can use Zapier. I think many platforms have automations already kind of built in that you can explore, like Klaviyo,
Yeah.
right? For sure.
Do you have like a story of a brand using AI for their omnichannel marketing, and how did it like work out for them?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Especially when it comes to creating campaign topics or coming up with those campaign ideas, right? Brainstorming, kind of like reinforcing your thinking and the way you're going about things. It's really helpful being able to come up with concepts, and you want to dissect from brand topics to campaign topics and transactional messages, and communicating your unique value proposition in a certain way. Sometimes you have it in your head, but using a tool like ChatGPT can definitely help you expand those ideas, right, and help you communicate them better. From there, it takes a long time to come up with like outlines for your blogs and things like that, right? So you can take those brand topics and you can create outlines based on that and then expand those into blogs, right? to kind of help you make sure that you're communicating your ideas properly versus say, hey, write a 2,000 word blog for me, for sure it'll be a lot more contextual.
Yeah, that's actually something I've been working on recently. So I've been playing with ChatGPT on creating the outline for blogs. And then I'm going back in myself and kind of just putting the topics together and trying to write it to the brand voice of whoever we're writing for.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's an amazing approach for sure.
Yeah. And then having the outline already pre-done definitely does help a lot. And it definitely saves a lot of time too.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and then you can also utilize that, right, to convert your blogs into scripts. And then you can also adjust those as needed. So it really takes a lot of the time would have taken to create these things. It definitely enhances things. You shouldn't use it to replace the human. You should use it for enhancement, not emotion, right?
Yes. Because a lot of times, definitely during like that customer journey, emotion plays a part of it. And a lot of times I know people look and they're like, well, AI takes the human out of it, but that's part of how you put it back in. It's knowing that you're using it as a tool. It's not like a replacement for you to just be like, okay, I'm just going to put in this prompt. You're putting in the prompt to kind of guide you, but you're still expounding on that and then using it again to expound more. And you're kind of just using it as a guide.
Yeah, it's only creative or savvy as the person is, right? And you can utilize it to help you increase your savviness and your creativity, for sure.
Yeah, because I know a lot of people it's been talked about, and I know we've talked about it on the podcast, several podcasts about, brand authenticity and trustworthiness. So that's why I was like, a lot of people with AI are like, well, I don't trust, a lot of the stuff that's going on because there's so much AI behind it. The bots or I know part of creating that seamless experience is like having the pop-ups for customer service experiences and then people not really liking that. I don't want to talk to no bots, but there's obviously been some kind of human
in the loop.
Yeah, in the loop that's thought about the process for you, and they're creating the experience with you in mind, and that's kind of what omnichannel marketing is all about.
Right.
Is a customer approach, a customer service based approach. Like at every step in the process, we've considered the customer.
Right.
So they shouldn't be afraid of the AI.
Sorry. Cut you off a little bit.
Yeah.
No, I feel like too, whenever, not the client, whenever like the business completely uses AI, like, oh, they do the write me a 2,000 word blog, like the customer can see that. And like you said, it takes the human emotion out of it and it kind of like pushes people away. Like, oh, if this is how they like do their business, I don't really want to, interact with them.
For sure. And like you said, it's supposed to be just a tool. You can enhance what you're trying to say. Like some things are knowledge work, right? So like I can't write a blog about quantum physics if I know nothing about quantum physics. I'm just going to blurt it out and put that out to my community, But if I know what it takes to engineer a house, right? And I have the domain knowledge and I can utilize AI and proofread it and make sure this is specific and proper, I don't see a problem with that for sure at all. I think a lot of things aren't new though. They've been out. I think the word AI has just kind of like been a trigger word for people. Like we've been had automated messages. You've been had an automated chatbot, It's just more powerful now that we have natural language processors and things like that. But it even makes it better because the AI is using things like sentiment analysis, right? Or making predictive analytics, and it's customizing the conversation for your customer base to be more empathetic.
What's something that's trending in like automation right now that big brands are using?
I would say AI agents. I think this year you're going to see a swarm of AI agents with different use cases and workflows, right? So it's taking things that you would do manually, but there isn't really like any like proof that it's going to take humans out the loop completely, you know? It's just going to make you better at what you do. And if you're lazy, it's probably going to take you out the loop, but it just depends.
Yeah. No, when you say AI agents, do you mean like, I guess, kind of like a virtual assistant, but AI?
Yeah, well, you're able to give like AI agency to where it's essentially programmed, right? Like with Crew AI, it's a framework where you're able to program the agent with Python and give it a backstory, a task, and a role. And it will work with other agents in order to complete tasks, right? And then you can also give these agents tools. So you can give it access to your whole computer, which I would be very cautious of. You can give it access to your Google Drive or your calendar, and it can automate your bookings, right? You can give it access to your chatbot agent and create a whole workflow of different situations, right? So we're creating different automations, like for creating government contracts or creating grant proposals, right? Or helping do customer outreach or customer service and kind of doing that feedback. Or even research and development. You can program this agent to be a researcher and say you're a scholar researcher, right? And your role is to find out all the new AI advancements. And it's kind of like AI researching itself kind of deal. I think a lot of these things have been in place. We're just kind of becoming privy to it, for sure.
Yeah, so it's always been known amongst, I guess, the tech
Tech bros, right?
bros. And then more, I guess you would say, like regular people are like, oh, this is new.
Right,
I'm going to
yeah.
go play with it, see how it works.
You said to be careful about like giving it access to your whole computer. Do you have any tips for like creating all these automations, but like still you managing it?
Yeah. Well, using tools like Operator are where you would give it access to your whole computer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is kind of new, but I'm sure they have guardrails in place for those, to where there's not like you're ending up in a situation. I wouldn't think all like doomsday about it for sure.
No iRobot.
Yeah. But yeah, I think just being very careful. Like there is a learning curve to it. There has to be some technical knowledge, right? Understanding how to work with Git Bash or the terminal, learning how to pull repos from GitHub and things like that would be very advantageous. Learning those type of tools, you'll be more than like just a regular user of AI. But in order to take advantage of AI in these type of ways, you would definitely need to learn to do some development. A quick boot camp would definitely get you where you need to be, and faster than trying to YouTube University it. And I'm definitely like all about YouTube University, but I think doing boot camps and accelerated learning paths are definitely good for you.
So yeah, because I know you were a self-taught
Yeah, digital marketer.
digital marketer. What's your favorite digital marketing book? Like a book that you used early on learning?
To be honest, when I say YouTube University with the marketing, I mean it for real. But I do have a book for business that helped me a lot. Two of them. Laws of Human Nature, right? Or any Robert Greene book for that sense. But another book is Never Split the Difference. It helped me with negotiating. It's anyway, he's like an FBI negotiator. And it kind of helps you just have your way, but without taking advantage of people, you know? I like those other books too, like, but it's so that you don't let people take advantage of you, you know? Not to like do bad things or manipulate people in that sense.
Nice.
How can small businesses use Google Analytics to optimize their omnichannel campaigns?
Yeah, it's a lot easier. I think it's just really like scary for business owners. Like analytics is like this word, you know. But you can use GA4, just connecting to your website. A lot of these website tools like Webflow or Squarespace and Shopify, they have like built-in just widgets that connect it instantly. However, I find it better to work with Looker Studio, where you're able to pull in the data connectors for each of these different tools, right? Like your Google Analytics, your social channels, your email tools, right? Your ad tools, and having all those reports on one dashboard and being able to look at things from a year over year perspective, right? At the minimum, is super helpful.
Okay, nice. Does it show all the analytics like side by side based on like Facebook, Instagram?
Yeah. There's different tools like you can use. So Google already has, or Looker Studio already has a lot of built-in connectors, right? For like your Google, any Google platforms, like your ads or your Search Console or your Google Analytics. However, for third-party platforms, you'll need to use a data connector, and it's just easier to go through a third-party platform that does it with the click of a button for you. One I like is called Supermetrics, and it'll allow you to connect your Klaviyo, your social channels, your SEMrush, whatever you're using, right? And you'll be able to have all those report templates created for you, to where the reports are done and just pulling in the feeds.
Okay, I need to look into
I
that.
I was just about to say, that's right up your alley,
Yes.
Gabby.
Yeah.
I'm the like SEO person on the team, me and
Okay.
Matt. So I'm every month looking, like pulling all the data. I'm pulling from Google Analytics, Google Business Profile, SEMrush. So I'm like putting it all together myself. So if I had something to like,
Template it out for you.
yes,
Yeah.
that would be perfect.
Yeah, setting it up is probably like the hardest part. After that, it's just changing the dates. You know, you don't have to really touch it again.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Right. So what are some features you say like a business owner should be looking for like in an automation agent?
Well, it just depends on your use case, right? Your workflow. Right now, Timarari Media has partnered with a company called Phaser Labs, ran by Nick McGinnis here in San Antonio. And we're looking to create an operating suite of different agents. Me having the expertise of having worked with hundreds of businesses, right, and their different industries, I have a knack for understanding industries well and how they can excel amongst their competitors. For me, well, to answer your question, so it just depends on the workflow that's needed, right? And the agents are built out specifically for that. So I think it just depends on how much automation is the agent doing for you, right? And how intuitive is it, right? What are the different nuances and around like your domain knowledge for your industry that make this like the perfect tool, you know? Like now that I'm more in the developing side of things, as well as marketing and consulting, I'm able to, I believe re-innovation is the key to success. So understanding your competitors is super helpful and why they're the best, right? So when I'm building out a marketing campaign, I'm looking at who their competition is in their state, in their region, also in Atlanta, in New York, in LA, in Vegas. I'm looking at all their websites, and I'm going through each single website, and I'm jacking the features, like Instagram to Snapchat with the stories. You know what I'm saying? Because it's re-innovation. It's the key to success, right? So why is the company the best, right? What are they communicating about the value proposition or their service? What stands out? Oh, I like this about their website. Maybe we could do something like that, but not necessarily copy, right? But just re-innovate. It's a feature. But taking that same approach with developing, you know, looking at my competition or these different softwares, and it's like, okay, what are they doing? Well, why are they doing it that way? You know, and making it better. So yeah, that's what I would say. Did I answer your question?
Yeah.
Cool.
No, it makes me think of the quote. This isn't the exact quote, but it basically says that all artists steal, or the
Right.
best artists steal.
Yeah.
So you're not necessarily copying one for one, but you're taking like their technique or whatever they're doing and just making
Yeah.
it better.
Right. But also, not necessarily just taking it all the time, but using it as inspiration to improve your own processes or approach. Like when I'm building websites for customers or clients, I might think about like I would like to compare their website to their competition. And I'd be like, yeah, we're definitely a lot more contextual and communicating our value proposition. I'll put money on it, like, to see which website is better. Sometimes like I'm not the greatest designer, right? But sometimes like all those click action things don't make me the most happiest, right? They're not always the most converting type websites.
So, while you've been learning development, what's the most interesting thing that you've learned?
Well, every single week there's something new with AI, right? Like every single day almost now. And then when China doing their thing with our with the DeepSeek, you know, and then Alibaba's in the game, and then Grok 3 just dropped yesterday. We just dated the podcast, but so yeah, I think it's all amazing. To be honest with you, it's just how you're approaching it. What I'm trying to do is automate everything I'm doing from marketing with agents, but even taking it a step further, where using your clones and things like 11 Labs for cloning your voice, creating videos like without actually having to go out and do it, are some of the things we're working on with Phaser Labs that we should be having coming down the pipeline in the next few months. So I think it's really good for San Antonio. But yeah, just I think it's just a matter of being in tune with what's going on and staying excited. But yeah, I've been very happy with the agents and just that whole concept and technology and being able to like, hey, if I could take everything I just told you guys about digital marketing and press a button and it happens, but then it organizes it too, it would be super, super cool for me.
Nice. So how is the like agent integration going for you so far?
Oh, it's been great. It's been great. I started developing like within the past 9 months. I didn't even know how to code, and I learned so much. I learned about all the different type of machine learning algorithms and how you can apply them to different industries and use cases and using data science, working with LangChain and Crew AI and building these different agents. I've learned that I've had to take my big idea and turn it into a lot of small ideas, right? Until it becomes the big idea. That's kind of where we're at with things, building these small use cases like the voice cloning agent or the customer outreach agent or the agent that can post social media posts for us without having to do it ourselves. These different types of use cases.
Nice.
What is the biggest well, I wouldn't say it's the biggest automation, but like the automation that's saved you the most time or has helped your business and your brand grow the most?
I would say our customer feedback and customer service agents for sure. Yeah, without having to speak to every single question and things like that, has been super helpful. Um, and but keeping a human in the loop is super important to make sure things are running optimally.
So I know you said you didn't know how to code before, and you've kind of just been like learning as you go along. As you've been like learning to code and then figuring out all the AI stuff, have you found like little holes where you've been, I guess, not necessarily trying to copy, but you're like looking at other like companies and what they're doing, and you're like, oh, there's like little fixes that can be made here and there to like better improve it for your company?
Yeah, definitely refactoring the code, and we're always looking on GitHub at different projects that are going on, right? So, and different ways we can contribute to their projects. So we always find out about different like tools that were out there to help us kind of reach our goal, especially with our agent for the marketing. Like we recently came across one called Templated. It's an AI agent for um, understanding your aesthetic, right, for creating graphic assets. So that's what we're super excited about right now.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that sounds interesting.
Yeah. I was like,
You got
interesting.
our gears turning.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
So I know a lot of it is based off you talked about like having the data, knowing the data, keeping up with it. So if not a customer, I just did the same thing that you did. So if a business owner or somebody was starting a brand and they had no data, how would they begin to kind of start this process?
Start collecting emails and phone numbers. Get that first party data, right? But I think just start tracking those metrics, right? Create those baselines. Set up Google Analytics and start tracking your website traffic, your revenue, right? If you're doing leads, track how many leads you got coming in on a weekly basis. Establish those baselines so you have something to go off when it comes to having metrics, for sure.
At what point would you say they've like built up enough metrics?
When they've established all the marketing channels and they've identified the metric for each marketing channel, right? And then have established it on the dashboard, right? And it's communicated. And it's a process like every single week, every Monday, you're able to look at, hey, how much money did we make this week? How much website traffic? What's our bounce rate? What's our revenue, right? How many sessions did we have? How many first-time visitors? How many returning visitors, right? What's our ratio between new customers versus returning customers, And having these type of insights help you make better decisions as a business owner. It sounds like a lot for sure. There's a lot of different metrics and a lot of different channels, but working with agencies like ours, we can help them with that for sure.
And then once they get all of that, like, I guess, client, customer info, would they just build customer personas based off of that and then keep going from there?
Yeah, well, in my opinion, the metrics are more of a quantitative, right, analysis. I think brand personas are more qualitative, like a brand type deal. You know what I mean? Something that brand should be separated from performance in that sense, and whoever's making those brand decisions should kind of get some feedback from performance in terms of like how things are coming out, what's the performance of things, right? But really being able to communicate with their brand language and hone into their customer experience, I think that's definitely a creative aspect of things.
And then also based off that data, at what point do you think like the business owner might need to like retarget? Like if they're not getting the metrics that they want?
Well, I think retargeting, right, is important, and you can do that through like ads, right, or email, sending out consistent emails or SMSs, but segmenting your audience, right. At some point, there is a time where if this customer hasn't opened your email in the last 6 times you sent them an email or 20 times you sent them an email, then go ahead and put them on the unengaged list, right? And only send them the big brand promotions, right? The 20% off or the Black Friday deals or the buy one, get one frees, They're not that engaged with your audience, so why over-inundate them, For sure.
So what's the most cost-effective way to integrate social media and email marketing, since those are probably the two
Most practical.
ways for small businesses?
Yeah, and SMS.
Yeah.
Which is higher conversion for sure. Email having the highest ROI. You can sync the data for the platforms, right? You can. We talked about Omnichannel, right? So we created all the content for all of them, but you can use your social graphics as emails or your emails as social graphics. You can cross-pollinate your content, You can retarget. You can set up your email with your social ads and retarget that way. You're speaking to retargeting. And have it all synced up with Klaviyo and making sure that your ads are targeted and segmented properly along with your emails. Yeah, I think those are the main ways for sure.
And I know a lot. So for those out there,
Or lead forms.
lead forms.
Lead forms
Okay.
on email. Yep.
The automation of, because we were talking about automations and not taking that much time. A lot of the tools like Canva and those, you're able to resize your, your graphics to
Yep.
fit
The different
it's-
aspect ratios.
Yeah, because Canva does include the AI. Obviously, it's in everything.
Right.
So you could take your graphic from your the blog page to a social media graphic to
Yeah.
your newsletter, pretty instantaneously. So those are things that you can do
Right.
with the tools that you probably are already using in your business.
Right, and make it a lot more cost effective and simple. It sounds a lot, but once you strategize it and essentially just get into the weeds of things, you can do a lot in a little bit of time. I've done this system, this omnichannel marketing system with VAs. I've done it with corporate. And I've also done it by myself, right? And I think sometimes I did it better by doing it myself, to be honest with you, and being more hands-on. I've been able to create all the content for the whole quarter, from email to blogs to creating the website, within 2 to 3 weeks, just by putting the work in and putting my head down. And kind of once you have it done, it just makes life a lot easier later on. But you have to put dedication towards it, for sure.
Yeah. And it sounds like with the automations, a lot of the work is in setting up the automation. And then
Yeah.
once you're kind of past that, you're good. And then you're just pretty much tracking the data, collecting it, analyzing it,
Right.
and then going back in and re-upping every time. Okay, we're getting a little better, a little better, a little better until eventually you see those numbers start rolling in. You're like, okay, now we've got, kind of like a pattern or a pace that we're keeping up because you've been practicing at, refining that process. I think that's what it's all about, is refining that process, and it gets easier and easier to do these, with the automations and stuff.
Absolutely.
I feel like it definitely takes some time to figure out how to cut down the time.
Right.
doing
Yeah,
things.
and I think that's the
Right.
most scariest part is you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know anything about this world for a lot of people, and it's like, it seems like a lot, but you have to kind of just get through it, and then eventually once you learn it, then it's like, okay, well, that worked out.
Yeah, it's a learning curve.
Yeah.
Everything with the tech world can seem super intimidating, but I think once you just kind of start, after a while, it gets a lot easier to work with.
Yeah, for sure. Practice makes progress.
Yeah, practice.
Well, I'm going to say that probably right. So what are some quick and actionable, I guess that's kind of along the same lines of steps that brands can take?
I think creating a go-to-market strategy is the first step. I would think that would be the best thing a customer can do. A business owner can do, is understand what promotions and campaigns or activations they would like to do, and stop working in real time. Think in the future. Establish what your brand campaign topics are going to be over the next quarter, and strategize to create the content for them and not be on the gun.
Yeah, so it's like with this process, then you may just have to take some time where it's like you're grind, hustle to kind of get ahead. Because you're saying if you're focused on 2025, then you're already behind.
Right.
And
Work hard now, and later on it will be a lot more smooth for you. You
Yeah.
don't have to work as hard, and you'll be able to think clearly as well, more clearly.
yeah, you'll be actually in quarter 2?
Yeah. So ideally, you want to be, when quarter 2 pops up, April,
It's going.
you need to be thinking about Q3, and what you're doing then. Or else you're just kind of stuck on this loop, on this hamster wheel of and it's either like get ahead or stay in the present.
Yeah, so you kind of have to buckle down, do what you need to do right now, but then also do for the future. That way you're ahead of the game and you're no longer in that like stuck mode where it's, I'm trying to get all of this done like right now in this time frame it needs to go out.
And work with your friends, work with your employees, your partners, consultants like us to help you get your ideas out, you know?
Definitely.
And it'll be a lot easier, even if it's not like a whole, we're doing everything for the client, you know, or the business owner. It's just helping, we can definitely help them.
Yeah. It all starts with like a consultation. A lot of that too, you'll get maybe some good brainstorming ideas. Speaking of consultations, you can book a consultation with Peachtree Rose Marketing.
Yes, shameless plug.
Shameless plug.
Ain't nothing wrong with it.
Yes, DM us on social media. We have Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, or visit our website at peachtreerosemarketing.com.
Yeah, I think that just about wraps it up. Dom, would you like to tell the people watching where they can find you?
Yes, please follow me on Instagram at TEMERARII. You can also follow me at temerari.com. That's TEMERARII.com.
Right, perfect. Thanks for coming on. We really enjoyed this conversation.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you
for
so
having me.
much.
Awesome.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
Well, bye, guys.
Bye. This has been another great episode of While Supplies Last. See you guys next time.